opening the floodgates to this whole idea of...
Hello, everybody. Let's take a walk out in the backyard. I want to talk to you today about space. Space is hard. Rockets are hard. If you don't want rockets to blow up, don't build rockets. It's just that simple. I just probably 30 minutes ago heard about the crash of the Spaceship Two, Virgin Atlantic's Spaceship Two. It's a suborbital. If you're not familiar, it's a suborbital craft. It's designed to bring tourists eventually up to low Earth orbit, not low Earth orbit, up into space where they can experience weightlessness and so on. Just now, I don't even know the name of the astronaut yet. But yeah, and we just have. It's been a bad week in space. Let me tell you, we had the Orbital Sciences rocket blow up. And rockets tend to do that. Rockets blow up. It's real hard to keep them from blowing up. They want to blow up. It's sort of like how space wants to kill you. Rockets want to blow up. And the trick is to try to keep that from happening. Sort of similar to the way that airplanes want to kill you too. I mean, cars want to kill you for that matter. I'm not sure what I'm really doing here, except to say that surely everyone who's involved in the space program knows this thing can happen. Sort of thing can happen. I mean, that's just a given. And sadly enough, our present degree of success in space, the International Space Station, the fact that we went to the moon, is built on the bones of dead rockets, dead astronauts, and dead cosmonauts. The very successful Soyuz program in Russia, it's like the longest running manned spacecraft. The first time they sent that up, killed a cosmonaut, Vladimir Komarov, and he knew he was going to die too. That's sort of the sucky. Well, another sucky thing about it is that he knew he was going to die too. That the Soyuz wasn't ready. And Gagarin, who was still alive at that time, knew that it wasn't going to work either. And in fact, they say that when the time came to launch the Soyuz, that Gagarin burst into the launch center, insisted that he be sent instead, because Gagarin was Komarov's backup. So Gagarin burst into the space center there and insisted that he be put on the rocket instead of Komarov, thinking that they wouldn't kill Gagarin, their first man in space. But they didn't. He was unsuccessful in trying to get Komarov off the rocket, and in fact, it was a comedy. It was a tragedy of errors. Soyuz 1 was. The spaceship started to fail as soon as it got up into space. Solar panels didn't deploy. Finally, they went to bring they realized it was a real bad deal, and that they needed to bring the spacecraft back. And so they tried to bring the spacecraft back, but the automated re-entry process didn't work. So he had to manually re-entry, which is a lot harder than you might think. I mean, he has to manually pilot this dying spacecraft through a tiny little window, and he did it. I mean, he did what for most mere mortals would be the impossible, which is he manually piloted this spacecraft through this tiny little re-entry window, and then he went to deploy the parachutes, and the first parachute fouled up, didn't deploy. Second, and tried to release the first parachute so it could deploy the second parachute. The first one didn't release. The second parachute got fouled up in the first parachute, and he was going to die. And he had a period of time in which he could kind of meditate on the fact that he was about to smack into the ground at something like 800 miles an hour. He wasn't a happy camper. As you can well imagine, he was not a happy camper. Then on Soyuz 11, everything went fine. They went to re-enter. Apparently, a valve got stuck open and depressurized the spacecraft. The craft landed fine, and they went to pop the hatch and see these dead cosmonauts staring up at them from their seats because they had depressurized during re-entry. And this is the most successful spacecraft ever, the Soyuz. I mean, really reliable, successful spacecraft built on the bones of dead cosmonauts. Apollo was same thing. Without the Apollo 1 pad fire, it's very doubtful that we would have gotten the moon without that or a similar catastrophe. So that's just sort of the way it works. If you don't want blown up rockets, dead astronauts, dead cosmonauts, you don't build rockets. That's just it. You just forget about space and say we're not doing it no more, and we're gonna, spend our money on bingo halls or whatever. But because that's part and parcel of the whole thing. Apollo was built on dead astronauts. Soyuz was built on dead cosmonauts. I mean, that's just the way it is. And if you look at the list of space fatalities and fatalities training in space, we actually have way more than the Russians, because we had the 2 shuttles blow up. And that was a lot of people. So, I mean, that's that. People can bitch and moan about rockets blowing up and people getting killed. But as long as we're still going to space, rockets are still going to blow up and people are still going to get killed. That's just a fact. It's just it. And, if we decided that we didn't want to have dead pilots, we wouldn't have had airplanes today, so that's just it. And I can promise you, however, many of the people in the past, people of the future who will die going to space, there will always be people who are willing to climb on top of a rocket and go to space. It's just there will always be those people who are going to climb on the top of a rocket and say, "Send me to space." When it became clear that the Americans were going to beat the Soviets in space, like all the cosmonauts got together. They'd been launching their N1 rocket, and the N1 rocket has been blowing up on the launch pad. All the cosmonauts got together and signed their names to a document and said, "Send us on the next N1 launch." This is a rocket that has been blowing up practically on the launch pad every time they tried to launch it. But the Kremlin or whoever, Politburo, didn't go for that, and which was a good thing, since the next N1 launch blew up too. So, and that's the way progress in rockets happens: is shit blows up, people die. Sad, regrettable. I don't think any of the people probably the guy who died today, all the guys who died before wouldn't have said, well, on second thought, realizing what the odds are of someone dying, I think I'll pass. I won't go to space. I won't climb on a rocket. Yeah, there are always you can explain the dangers to them all day long. There will always be people who climb on rockets. There are people who wanted to climb on the N1, climb on the N1 that blew up every time. The cosmonauts still put their names on a piece of paper that says, "The next N1 launch, send me up." It's like every one of them blew up, and they were still saying, "Sign us up. Put a guy in next time." But they didn't do that. In that case, it was a good thing, because the N1 needed a lot more test launches than what they had available. But I mean, yeah, that's just it. It's just space is hard. Space is dangerous. Space wants to kill ya. Space wants to kill ya. And I mean, even if you say, well, we don't want to lose any more human lives. We don't want to put people on rockets anymore. Well, I mean, you still got to launch rockets. We're still going to need weather satellites and communication satellites, and for the sake of science, of our understanding, we're going to still want to send stuff to space, to the moon, to Mars. The human quest for knowledge doesn't stop just because things are dangerous or difficult. Picking a weed right quick. Yeah, so I guess that's about all I have to say about that. Space is hard. Space is hard. People die. Ship blows up. Of course, people die and ship blows up here on Earth without any kind of more noble aspiration. I mean, our militaries around the world and paramilitaries and all that blow shit up all the time and kill people without any kind of real purpose to it. At least the astronauts and cosmonauts who died, there was some sort of purpose to what they were doing. It doesn't diminish the fact that maybe somebody back at the shop was stupid. People in charge maybe didn't appreciate what they were doing, like with the Apollo 1 pad fire. But still, they were attempting to do something, worthwhile in the world, as versus, just blowing shit up, burning towns and villages. Humans have a tendency to blow shit up, just in general, It's just the way they are. So might as well blow up something in the furtherance of something worthwhile, So I guess that's about all. Space is hard. If you don't want hard, don't go to space.